Hi YouTube, Dimple285 here. So today we're going to be talking about daycares and all the things I wish I knew when it came down to looking for a daycare for my firstborn. It can be very nerve-wracking to entrust like someone else, a complete stranger, with your child, but for us working moms, it's something we have to do. Unfortunately, I wish we didn't, but we do, specifically here in the US. So what really nerved me was I asked the few moms who I knew, like, hey, how did you find a daycare? And the advice I got was like, oh, ask around, or oh, you'll just know. You like get a feeling, like, or ask the people you know, get recommendations. And it's like, okay, I like that. I'm okay with that. But like, I don't know. I kind of want something a little bit more factual than like just it feels right. Because what if my feeling is wrong? You know, like people are like con artists. What if, all these thoughts are going through my head. So I am creating a list of things that I wish that would have been there for me, or things that I wish I would have known when I first started this search. So here are a few questions or things to ask or consider when searching for daycares. So the first thing that was incredibly important to me was video. So there are two things. Either most daycares offer video surveillance or they have live stream. Those are two totally different things. Video is just they have a video where it is recording throughout the day. Live stream is where you can actually tap in and view your child live stream. The same way you live stream Netflix or Hulu or whatever streaming platforms you use, Apple Music, you can literally live stream into your child's daycare. Those daycares tend to cost a little bit more, I think, because they have those services, and so they know they can charge more. But that was something that was really important to me in today's climate. Like, it's not that I don't trust you, but let's just be honest, I don't know you. And my son is very small, he can't speak for himself, so that's something that's really important to me. If they did not have video surveillance or they did not have live stream, I was like, well, why? It's 2023. If you don't want to cover yourself, that's just kind of weird to me. Like, you work with people's children. You should have some type of video surveillance. So that's that. The next thing, a lot of people don't think to ask these things. And I think it's because I have a background in education, so I kind of think to ask certain questions. You want to ask about their staff turnover rate, meaning, are you hiring and firing people all the time? Because chances are it's not a good culture there. The workers probably hate it. There's probably some type of something going on as far as management. So is the director of the daycare a butt and can't keep staff because he doesn't know how to talk to people, or she doesn't know how to talk to people? That is something that is incredibly important to me, because if the staff does not like it, I don't want them being mean to my baby because they hate their job, or because someone there is causing them to make it an unpleasant environment. So very important. Also, they might be lacking training as well if it's a lot of turnover, okay? Next is cleanliness and safety. So number 3, again, cleanliness and safety. And so obviously you ask certain questions like, hey, what are your protocols for cleaning? Or what are your protocols for safety? What are your protocols in the event that this happens? What are we doing about COVID? And most people talk a good talk, but things that I specifically look for when I toured daycares, if you say that a kid is touching a toy and anytime a kid touches a toy, it's remove and wipe down, I'm looking to see if, okay, that kid touched that toy. You didn't remove it to wipe it down. Also, if you say it's being removed to be wiped down, who is removing it? Because if the person who's in here watching the infants is removing it, then that means the infants are left alone, and that's also another problem. So listen to what they say, but also like think through what they're saying and make sure it makes sense. A lot of times I think we're told things as parents and it doesn't really make sense when you think about it. Like, unless you have a spare person coming around to wipe things down, then how are you wiping it down every time a kid touches it? Because then you're not paying attention to the other kids. Does that make sense? So pay attention, ask those questions, and make sure it makes sense. Another question, and this is something that even when your child starts school is really important to ask because it's very telling. Ask how many of the staff's children attend. If it's not good enough for their kids, it's not good enough for yours. Simple as that. I can't tell you how many times as a teacher, parents would ask, hey, is this a good school? And it's like, I can't, I'm in a odd position. I work here, and so I know things. I know the pros and cons and ins and outs. So how I would feel about it would be completely different from you. But a telling sign is if the people who work there, whether it be the daycare owner, the director, the staff, if their kids don't go there, you probably don't want to send your kids there either. That's usually just the way it goes, okay? Another question is, how is communication handled? So in the event that there is an emergency, how do you reach out to me? Or if there is no emergency, are you letting me know how many diapers my kid is going through in a day? What are your protocols? How do you handle that? Most daycares nowadays use applications and software for those sorts of things, but excuse me, very good to know. And as a parent, I feel more reassured knowing that you have some type of process and protocol for communicating with me. Another thing, again, I think because I have a background in education, it's something that pops up in my head. You want to ask about the student to teacher ratio, okay? So in other words, if there are 8 infants to 1 teacher, I don't care how experienced that teacher is. I don't care. That makes no sense. It's hard with just me taking care of him. So if you have 8 babies that you're responsible for, then that lets me know that there's a chance that, number 1, sometime my child is going to be unsupervised. Number 2, my child is going to be left to just figure it out. There's just a whole slew of things that can go wrong. So I prefer daycares that have a smaller student to teacher ratio. And also, again, common sense, when you go and do those tours, I literally count to make sure that what you're saying to me is actually what you're practicing. So if you say you have a 6-to-1 ratio, which is common here in Georgia, I prefer a 4-to-1 ratio, so 4 infants to 1 teacher, but that's kind of harder to find. But if you say you have a 6-to-1 ratio, best believe when I walk in there, I'm counting to see, okay, it's 6 kids, I see 1 teacher, or it's 8 kids, so it should be 2 teachers in here. And if it's not, that's an issue for me as a parent. Okay, the next thing on my list is, again, I think a lot of people probably don't know about it. I didn't know about it. There is a website, I think it's called Bright From Start. I'm not sure if it's national, but I know here in Georgia we have it, Bright From Start, where you can literally go on the website, pull up the daycare or even preschool, and you can see, is it accredited? Does it have licensing? Is it quality rated? Who's the owner? Any complaints in the past? You can literally pull up their inspections, which is pretty much what they have to go through in order to be a daycare. All of that information is public knowledge, and so many people don't know. And nobody who I asked, how did you find a good daycare? Only 1 person shared with me the website, but they didn't really go into detail hey, this is how you make sure that this place is accredited and not just some random daycare that has no inspections, no policies, no formal government backing. You want to make sure that there is some type of entity coming in to check the daycare for safety, cleanliness, things like that. And that is called Bright From Start for Georgia. I'm sure wherever you are, they probably have something similar. You probably just have to Google it, okay? Those are my top tips for right now. I hope this is helpful for somebody. Again, when I started my daycare search, I kept looking online for things I need to know, things I need to ask, and I couldn't find it. So I hope that this is helpful for all the new mamas out there, or if you're not a new mom but you're going to be new to daycare, I hope this is helpful. Again, if it is, send it to someone you know. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank y'all for watching. Catch y'all in another video. Bye.